Hi everyone, it's Tom. It's great to be with you again as we're in our second week of devotions. As we look at a loving church. What does it mean to be a loving church in 1 Corinthians 8, 9 and 10? Today we're going to look at 1 Corinthians 9, verse 19 to 23. So maybe you want to pause the video here to grab your Bible and let's read together. That's 1 Corinthians 9, 19 to 23. Though I am free and belong to no man, I make myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. To the Jews I became like a Jew, to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those under the law. To those not having the law, I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but am under Christ's law, so as to win those not having the law. To the weak, I became weak, to win the weak. I have become all things to all men, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings. That is a beautiful passage. It really is. It's real. It's got a real gospel heart in it, and so I want us to continue to think more about what does it mean to be a loving church. And we can see here, Paul's loving heart is really just open for everyone. We can read about Paul's journey in the book of Acts as he goes from being a persecutor of the church to being one of the church's greatest leaders. And, right now we're in the middle of an argument where Paul is defending himself from critics and saying, look, this is open. I deny nothing. This is how my life has been. And so I want us to draw some principles, just two, from this that we can take away. I think the first one for a loving church is that a loving church is evangelistic wherever possible. Like we read, Paul said, to the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those under the law and not under the law, I became like that. He says in verse 22, I have become all things to all men, so that by all possible means I might save some. Now, Paul found himself in many different communities, and our church is made of people from different communities. Our city is made of people from different communities. South Africa, 11 official languages with many cultures and subcultures and subcultures. There's a lot of work to be done with evangelism. So whatever communities we find ourselves interacting with, being a part of, being involved in, we need to bring the gospel there. We need to be doing evangelism there. And so a good question to ask ourselves is, in the communities that we're a part of, where are we not doing evangelism that's appropriate for the community? Why aren't we doing it? Or what are we doing that's going well? How can we share that with other people and continue to do more of it? Encourage other people to be doing evangelism. It doesn't just have to be missionaries in a faraway country. You need people in your neighborhood, at your work, at your home, in your friendship circle. And then the second thing that I want us to focus on for being a loving church is that a loving church is gospel focused. Paul's created this whole argument, he's bringing it all, and then he says at the end, I do all this for the sake of the gospel. Paul understands that you've got to be gospel focused, because a loving church is gospel focused. It's about the message and the life of Jesus the King. So if a church loses sight of that, it's lost sight of everything that's important. So a good question to ask is, where have we lost sight of that? And how is that impacting the way that we're not being a loving church? Because if we're not gospel focused, what are we telling people? What are we sharing with people? So that's a really good thing for us to question ourselves and ask of each other. Ask your Bible study leader, ask the pastors, ask the people in your family, in your friendship circle. Are we being gospel focused? Or have we lost sight of that? Because everything we do now is for the sake of the gospel. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and God bless.